Soccer player.
No, what? Don't read it.
Soccer player.
No, it's not on. You're not filming. Are you filming? Oh, damn it.
Soccer player.
Must we start?
Yeah.
Okay. So, back with Mzansi Madness. Number, I'm not sure. Irrelevant, because I'm going to mix it up. But I'm here again with Mzu and Khanya this time so we did an episode, my first episode actually, with Mzu about, how's the sound? It's good? About relationships. It was very interesting. Definitely you need to check it out, listen if you haven't yet, because some people had a lot of things to say about that episode, which is why I decided to bring in Khanya, because she had a lot of responses to the things
I had a lot of questions.
A lot of questions came up, and she was asking me, and I was like, I don't know an answer to that. So I thought, let me invite Mzu back, and then you can ask him directly.
Yeah.
Because I feel like there was a lot of women that watched it, and especially those little clips that were isolated.
Yeah, those
and
ones
you got a lot
trouble.
of cack for that.
Yeah, I'm like, whoa, context.
Context.
And
And
Very,
then
very
they went,
important.
and then they watched it, and still they were fired up.
Before we get into it, I just
Yes,
say
please.
thank you for the
Please.
bravery of coming.
Sure. Thanks. Thank you. I feel very comfortable right now, but okay.
I'm glad. Did you?
Lies and filth. She
Yeah.
just said, Kanya's coming through. Would you like to come through? I said, ask her if she would actually like me there. Because maybe I thought you had responses as opposed to questions.
No, I had
and
questions.
maybe you didn't want me to, So I was like, okay. Then I thought if there are questions, maybe it's also good because then there's context.
Yes.
Even more context to things. So
I mean, the one that stood out for me that I think we should just get into, straight away, was, I remember Tandu was relaying a story about an Uber driver, her Uber driver who was then sharing with her how he was spending so much money on the wife's hair, which then, the conversation went on, and I don't remember verbatim, but then you then mentioned that is why you don't date
I heard
South
that.
African
I knew
woman.
that was
That was a direct response to that.
Yeah.
it was in that conversation.
It was the interesting thing, because there was a lot of interesting things.
Yeah, I remember.
And for me, I one thing that stuck out was, men, particularly with South African men, and once again, maybe it's an African thing, a global thing perhaps, is we are told and taught that men they want to provide. That's the thing that gives them the confidence, because they're logical beings, as opposed to the feeling and the emotional part of it. And I did not see what the issue was with him doing that, particularly because it wasn't just a random girl, it was his wife, and that for me did not, I didn't see, it as something that would, kind of, I know that it wasn't directly responding to that thing, but to then say that's why I don't date, South African women. So that for me was the first ding, 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 ding.
Hello, sir, excuse me.
I had a conversation by myself while watching. So yes, I'd like us to start there, because, and maybe it's a question that I'm posing to you then, have we been taught incorrect things in saying that men take pride in providing for their women?
So, okay, let me just address the first part of the I don't date South African women is not the statement that was supposed to come out of that. The context of that was, we discussed that thing and we came up with scenarios of how many times we've come across a situation where people have these problems. And then I said that in most cases, I end up relating with people who do not have these demands. And this is why, in most cases, I don't end up with South African women. I've dated South African women. I do date South African women who think like me. So I don't have a problem with South Africans nor anyone specific in the world. I was just talking about a general practice and a general behavior, and how I end up meeting less South Africans who think like me than I do meet South Africans that think like me. So I end up not dating. That's what I was saying.
And how do we then separate? Because in as much as, we do live in a society, and we do know that Africa and South Africa are very cultural, So yes, we're getting exposed in terms of the schools, we're getting exposed in terms of the spaces that we're now, finding ourselves in. We travel more, obviously the younger generations. However, you are coming out of that environment where, for a very long time, even to the extent, if you just to kind of give some context to what I'm trying to say is, as a young professional woman, I then get married. They know that I'm a professional woman and I'm getting married, and things will be said like, makoti, you know that now, you can't just be traveling everywhere, because now you're a makoti.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, there's that part of it, which means somebody else is going to be providing what you can no longer provide for yourself, because at a professional level, you must step back. At certain levels, you must step back because now you are a makoti.
Sure. So I feel like in the context you're giving a context. You and the person you're with are agreeing. If you agree that you want to take a step back from your career, obviously I must provide because I'm making you not do the things. But if we are doing the things together, I do not understand what is with the providing when we're actually doing the same things. And then when providing changes to I demand and I deserve, is where my problem comes in. I agree that men feel, in general, again, we're generalizing here, that they should provide and that they get pride out of it. There's a difference between me giving you a gift because I think you deserve a gift. And there's a difference between you demanding things from me because you feel like you deserve to get these gifts from me. Because once you start demanding things from me, I start wanting to know what is it that's making you so special that you deserve to get, and I never hear you telling me what you're giving. And if what you're giving is you, and I'm also giving you me, why do I also need to add extra and provide money and other things? We're both giving each other. Why are you special that I must now, over and above, do more and you don't? That's where my problem comes in. So, do I buy a gift for a girl? I do, because I want to. I think it's natural that you want to, if that's called providing. Now the gifts are different. If people want to buy hair, they buy hair. If people want to buy phones, they want to buy airtime. They want to take people out for a drink.
That's actually interesting because is that providing?
So these are the things I'm saying. I don't know.
Because to me, I also understand providing as like if you have kids together, whatever. It's like, you gotta raise the kids, you gotta pay for whatever. It's food, it's the housing, it's rent, it's all of that. But is a weave.
So for me,
so here's my thing, is that the thing is we're basing it on a story that we don't fully understand. So now we're kind of filling in the blanks and making it up as we go. Let's just give the scenario that, for argument's sake, you, the woman that was in question at this point, who is wanting the weave, is now a mom. And maybe they've just got a whole, I was about to say, some
other things.
Maybe they just have like a soccer squad of kids, and she's a stay-at-home mom, and that's what she's doing, because that is a job. That is a job, and it's probably more demanding than any other job because you don't switch off, I'm not a mother, but I've heard moms say, and I've experienced it as a deputy mom. Yes, I'm a proud deputy mom. Hello, Nana. But for me,
she should not watch this.
She won't understand. She'll be, it's an ad. But the thing is, so if we go with the scenario that said gentleman is an Uber driver because he is the provider. Let's go with that. She's a stay-at-home mom, and those are she met her providing for herself. Let's just say and she was a person who liked weaves. And now she's a mom, she can't work because she's looking after the kids. That is providing. That is providing.
Again, I don't know, because if we are sitting together and we are deciding that it is okay for you to be a stay-at-home mom, we're a team. We are deciding together that this is okay. You must stay at home and take care of the kids. I will work. I don't find this to be a providing that is unnecessary. This is our team agreement. I go get money while you do this at home. So I don't even think he'd have the conversation about weaves then. Because we have had an agreement. It's like, yeah, she wants to look good, so I'll get her weave. I get the food, I get whatever. Because when I get home, she's cooked, she's taking care of the kids, she's cleaned, whatever. This is our agreement.
But she's doing that. But even if we work, so if we're actually honest, even if we work, I was actually having this conversation with a friend of mine from Botswana yesterday. And I mean, he even went as far as saying that, we women apparently take pride in preparing meals for our men. I was just like, we do? I was just like, really? I do? And more often than not, we live in a time now where we cannot function with one income.
That's interesting.
I don't know what to do about this.
Is that a neighbor saying
Do you want to pause? Pause. You just have to pause.
I don't remember what we were.
She was talking about do we have this pride for preparing meals for our men? That's where you were.
Yes.
This lady was saying.
And we were talking about, we actually live in a time now where the world over, one income is not enough. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And even one person has to look for 3-4 incomes
Yeah.
for us to have like 10
Yeah.
incomes combined so that we can, you know, maintain life. So
Yeah.
the thing for me is, even if we do have this conversation, is that more than most is that even housewives have to do other things besides being housewives, right, to make the income. So this providing and cooking and cleaning thing, it's not necessarily, women are still doing that over and above their 9 to 5s, over and above their businesses.
I think I always argue from a different point.
Okay.
The men in my family cook, clean, and do all the things that the women do. We do it equally. No one is expected to do more. There are things that I've seen naturally happening more, and I think they've got nothing to do with the discussion.
Okay.
Somehow I do know that the baby ends up chilling more with mommy dearest because she hugs, she kisses, she puts him to sleep easier. She does small things like that. But when it comes to them cleaning, changing nappies, I've seen they take turns. Even my brother's doing it right now. It's not it's your thing. He baths the kid, she baths the kid.
As long as you know that you are not the norm.
So, okay, then I guess my problem is, then my perspective is informed by the things
that you
I
see.
know, right? And that's where I'm always coming from. I'm never understanding these favors that someone else is doing more than the other person, and therefore they need someone else to do something else. You know, I'm coming from a point that I really genuinely believe that we are equal, and even if we do different roles, we are equal in those different roles. Meaning, if we decide you're going to sit and be a stay-at-home mom, it's a thing we need to decide. I feel like we need to decide it as a team, saying that's what works best for you because that's what you want to do. And then I agree that, okay, I'm taking on 17 jobs and you think you can add one more to yours? Is that cool? Don't worry, I'll cook. No, yeah, cooking, you can cook. I'm like that. I'm like, that's a relationship to me. That's what I expect a relationship to be. And therefore, all my opinions are based on that. That's my understanding of this. That's what equality means to me. It's that, there's just expected to do this. I also find that there are things that naturally people do because I just feel like at the end of the day, we are raised as women and as men. And the things you do. I feel like we don't discuss, should I protect you when you walk outside? Do you think it's me who should go for the fight? I feel like naturally, I just want to kind of do that.
I don't know, I saw time to get up just now.
Well, in her house, what am I going to say?
But to be fair, because I live with Naima with my sister, and Naima is definitely the one that will go because I'm so scared, man.
Hi, Naima.
And you know and I think that's what also informs my views is that I grew up in a home where my grandfather cooked. Yeah. And I'm at that. I'm taking it as back as that as a generation, you know, where my grandfather cooked when my grandmother fell ill before her passing, to the extent that my grandmother would be like, she everything had to be clean, like OCD runs in our family, you know. And my grandfather would do it because, you know, as a diabetic, she no longer could do those things, and he did those things. You know what I mean? I know,
but but what you're saying is that he did them when she was no longer able.
No,
to do
but
them.
he'd always he was always doing it.
Okay.
I always say the best putu that I've heard, you know, pogoko, has been prepared by my grandfather. He makes it so well, so fine. So there's those things, and he was a provider, right? My grandmother didn't work ever.
Could she
work? Yes.
So she was allowed to. It's not like she couldn't.
No. She could work, but she was more entrepreneurial, so she went that route. But I'm just saying she was more of a. So I'm informed by having grown up in that environment as well, which is why for me it's so difficult. You know, when I got into the world and there were these things where apparently women are just like apparently inspired by cooking for their men. I'm just like, well, you know,
but then I don't understand. Then why do you take issue with the men providing part of it?
What? No. I don't take issue with men providing. My issue was men. It comes at, you know, how it's coming across is that I get it when it's just women who aren't your wife. You know, I get it. I get the concern of you can't ask people to give you stuff that you can't get for yourself. I fully get that. You know. But for me, that's why I went to that particular one, because that stood out for me, because the words that were mentioned is that it is his wife. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And I didn't feel that it needed to be a burden unless if the conversation did. Because I'm sure there's something else, if we were to actually engage with her, and she'll tell us that no, because also, let's be honest, there's some sort of, some men have got, issues, no, I can't be having my wife out in the street working with men. We've heard such stories. I'm not saying that this particular guy, you know what I mean?
Right.
So we don't know what it is.
Obviously,
maybe they've got kids, maybe they've got young kids at
But
that.
that's what they do. So I remember that they had kids, and he was saying the problem is for him, he wants to build something, and he wants to buy a house, and he wants to, but now instead of being able to save the money, his wife is like, no, but I want, you know what I mean?
I want it weave like Khanya's weaving, you must provide.
But also the communication.
I want it better than hers.
But then, for me, then that just speaks to, that's a communication issue. That's actually just a communication issue, because if that's, because she's probably feeling she deserves that weave.
Yeah, and why is my question. This is where I get, this is where you get
It's a push gift for all 6 kids. I don't know what it is, but she's probably sitting somewhere.
You see?
Are you disputing the push gift?
No. I'm saying to you, we have kids.
You didn't push. You didn't push, Mzo. And you can't push. You cannot do it. Are you disputing push gift?
I'm saying we agreed to having this. I can't be punished for your pushing that you agreed to.
Oh my gosh. Oh, wait a minute. Wait, back it up.
If I'm supposed to pay you for you agreeing to do the only thing that you can do, I have a problem.
Okay.
But if you're saying, I feel like I think I should be pampered because I'm 9 months pregnant, man. My feet are sore. Sit down. I'm like, I'll massage. God damn it, I'll do it.
I don't want the massage. I want the weave. But But hold on. Let's be honest, right? So.
And this is a wife. So
So this lady going into the family. Let's call the families the Macintoshes, right? Okay. Because there were people of color, right?
Yeah.
So let's give the Macintosh the cultural thing. So she's no longer now a Sibia that she was. She's now a Macintosh, right?
Sure.
So going into this family, the expectation, if we're honest and we're frank, is that she's going to continue the legacy of this family.
Again, when you're talking to me,
I need to. We're generalizing here. Okay, because she's a Makoti.
Sure.
That's why we're getting a Makoti, because we're building a family, which means we're continuing not the CBA or CBC legacy, the Macintosh legacy.
Yeah.
So, how many Makotis do we know, if you're honest, outside of your experience, where they actually have some sort of, I want to wait 6 years. Already at the wedding, it's words like, we just can't wait for the pitta. Gosh, we just got married.
Sure.
Already on the honeymoon, the expectation is that you're doing nothing but trying to make these babies.
Sure.
Okay, so whether it was a decision or not, and we know that generally, in the African context, it's probably not really a decision, it is what is expected.
I agree with you, if this is the context.
Yes.
If the context is you didn't agree, really, you were forced into it anyway, kind of, sort of, fine. Because these things, I'm saying, I'm always arguing for me who's presenting what I think is a fair case. And when you're talking to me, I have these problems when people ask these things of me. When you meet Jabulani, who comes from this way of doing things, Jabulani must pay. That's what he's into. That's what Jabulani is into. Jabulani must pay. Jabulani wants to force you to get your kids after the wedding. Jabulani, he must pay. Huh? If that's what you're working with, I am assuming, and again, I keep saying slowly but surely, that the world is changing and we're opening up to new ideas of how to do this. And this is not about disregarding culture. I'm just saying that, for me, it's actually almost even re-understanding it. Because I feel like it's like these things were put in place for a reason. I just feel like some of us are almost too young to actually know what the reasons are, but we're carrying on with the tradition. We say, you must carry on the man's name. Why was that a decision? Why did we make that decision? Maybe there's a good reason why. Maybe there was. Maybe there's always a son in the family, and so that name will always grow on the other side, and therefore on the women, we have to force it to be this way because that's just how it works. Maybe that was the reason that happened. It's not just a thing of, well, we don't care about the women, so fuck you, we're gonna make this a man's thing. But now, because we don't talk about those things, we act like we know them and we demand things of them, but we don't know why we want these things. It's just like, why are we doing this? No one knows.
And I'm so glad you went there, because then Tandy, if I'm not mistaken, spoke. There was a brief conversation. I can't recall if you went into depth about Ilobol.
Sure. I don't know how far we went with it, but
I think you kind of just
mentioned it
and was
because
not,
it was just, because that's also a misunderstood one. Right?
Very misunderstood.
This buying this woman, I'm like, it was never about buying a female. This was creating a new
Look at
relation.
us agreeing.
We
While we're here.
We do agree, but this
While we're here.
no, but I think that's usually the problem is that
Yeah.
the context of these things gets lost
Yeah.
because everyone is hearing. We don't understand who the person speaking, where they're coming from, and what it is they're talking about. So which then brings back to why I say I end up relating to people outside of South Africans because in most cases it seems like my ideas of thinking are more of an, I don't want to call it an international thing as if it's a better way. It's just different. I seem to relate more equally with Tandy than I generally sometimes I relate with you.
Yeah.
Simply because there are rules from before you that were made and that you grew in. Mind you, I have issues on this side too.
Yes, we do.
Men being
Yes.
told to sit down to pee, all kinds of interesting
People
things.
taking off their shoes in the
in
house.
the house. You know, it's like there's things I'm just like, whoa.
People are feeling very uncomfortable
Whoa,
down here.
whoa.
What's going on?
Right? So, yeah, my thing was, this is, I think, what I was really trying to communicate. Maybe, and this will make more sense for what I was really getting to the core of it. I don't understand this idea that when I get together with you, I must keep paying because it is a favor for me that I'm with you. That I cannot accept.
Wait, what? Say that again.
That is
Me and you get together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now, Mzu is expected to pay to keep you because you are the precious thing that I am lucky to have.
Pay to keep me.
Yeah.
So what pay are we
people
talking
buy,
about here?
people, you must buy, you must pay. It's like the culture of, you get to a restaurant, I'm here with my friends, they're my friends and you came to me, you
We're
must
still
pay.
talking about the same thing.
Yeah, I'm saying, so this was addressing that whole thing, and I'm saying
Yeah.
what I was getting to, the
Yeah.
core of what I was saying was, this idea that I must pay
Yeah.
all the time to keep you because you clearly are the amazing thing that I am lucky to have bothers me. We are equally amazing to each other, I would hope, if we want to be together, and I shouldn't have to pay to keep you. Do I want to do nice things for you? I think naturally you do nice things for people you love. You want to do nice things for me, I want to do nice things for you. If they come in the form of money at certain times, then they do, but they don't become a demand that I have to do A, B, C, D, F, G. They happen
But you
because
also, I mean,
this
you,
is
you
what
would
we do.
expect your man to be paying for dinner or whatever.
So here's the thing. That's why I'm saying that to a larger extent, I think, as I said, I don't know if I'd make a good African makoti.
Yeah.
But for me, the thing is, what's more important than that is it does boil down to the uniqueness of that relationship and the couple, right? But the thing is now, culturally, you know, as a people, particularly in the African context and the South African context, is that we move as a unit. So everything is about family, it's about the other, it's about the group, right? Okay? So hence these things then I feel keep on being perpetuated, you know, into the next generations and next generations, sometimes just blindly so, without explanation, without any understanding. So I think it's about the love language. You as my person must understand my love language, you know, because if I'm a person who wants your time, throwing money at me, it's not going to work. And if anything, it's going to come across like I'm ungrateful, right? And if you are a person, you know that you've got a person who loves gifts, who loves flowers, who loves, you know, little things, you know, then know your person and be able to do that. So for me, what's important is the communication, which we spoke about before we went on air, is about communication and understanding who you are getting into a relationship with, which just triggers something. I remember having a conversation with an acquaintance of mine a couple of years back, and she was getting married. And I bumped into her a couple of years. She had a beautiful wedding and everything, and I was like, so how's it going? She's like, yo. I was like, what do you mean, yo? She's like, you know, we're meeting our partners in the cities, right? I'm meeting this Mzo. And I'm like, wow, what a guy. You know, it's a thing. The conversations don't get real enough for me to understand where he comes from, okay? So what's going to happen when we make the decision? Because yes, it's all great. We make the decision, and I can't run away from the fact that as a black South African woman, even though I've explored, there are certain processes that are going to take place, whether they're going to come from a partner's family or even my family, if marriage was a thing that I wanted, right? To understanding, so what do you do with kids in your family? You must understand, you know, I come from this kind of, you know, lineage where we chop the pinky. where we the face. What's where we cut the face, you know, it's called ukcaba. I'm not sure what the English term is for it. No, Emampondweni as well, it does. Ukchaza, oh, the word, ukchaza, yes. Then, you know, all of those things, it's a conversation that's not had because while we're living our best lives in Cape Town, you know, and he's just the best thing, he's cooking, he's whatever. And she's like, well, you know, I met this guy, he was wonderful until, obviously, now I'm married. And what I've become accustomed to in our city life is not real. Because when we now went into his home space,
where they moved there.
No, just now you're going there for whether it's a Christmas, it's a function or whatever. Different guy.
Okay.
Totally different guy.
Okay.
And obviously he's not gonna, you know, I always say this, nobody actually goes against a system that kind of works for them. You know what I mean? So now he's changed. He's no longer the guy that I know that I've been with. You know, now all of a sudden I must be wearing skirts to the ankle. I don't own skirts to the ankle. You know, you make me in bum shorts. Like I'm a bum shorts girl. You know, if your parents are around, maybe I'll do it. You know, it's a skirt, it's a dress, but you know, I'm being decent, I'm being respectful. But now he's a different guy. Now I must be waking up at 4. You know, I'm not a morning person. I've never been waking up at 4. You know, you bring me tea in bed. All of a sudden now you're a foreign entity. And she was saying that for her, what was quite shocking is that it got to the point where, you know, when the family even came to visit them in their space, because then you adjust. I'm just like, okay, it's fine. We're in the Eastern Cape, let me not, you know, we're here for 2-3 days, let me just do it, and you do it. But when you're going to come into my space, which is our home, I'd expect you to defend me when now I'm being, for lack of a better word at this point, oppressed, you know? And the younger brothers were then speaking smack to her because the environment is, as a man, you know, who've gone to the mountain, they are men, and she's and she's less than, basically.
And that's
in her home now, she was being treated that way. So the communication thing, I think, is very important in understanding that, you know, what makes me feel special. So whether it's the buying of the weaves, you must know you're into a weave girl.
So basically what you're saying, though, what I'm hearing is that even when you find somebody amazing who's on the same level as you in terms of everything, you can find out years later that
do your research.
Great, yeah.
Do your research.
Besides research, I think, why aren't you guys communicating to know each other? I feel like if I know I'm different from the home I come from, it is only natural that I should have this conversation with you saying, listen, we're going back in December. Let me just warn you, when we get home, it's because I imagine if you're dating an Afrikaans girl, I would be so shocked if she doesn't want to tell me that her family's racist.
Yeah.
She kind of gotta tell me.
Yeah.
My dad, I think my dad is gonna want to shoot you. I think that's what's
Let's
gonna
get
happen.
you a bulletproof vest now.
However, he said that he wants us to come back home. He did say that.
That's a supportive wife right there.
It's not even, I feel like it's necessary and natural because then if I get there and all of a sudden everything has changed and then you also letting me be called the K word and I'm going, even you, then I don't know who you are as well, right? So I feel like it's natural that we're supposed to talk about those things and it's going to be important for you to understand. I do think my family is important, but I'm going to tell you my family is very much like this. And this is what happens when we're there. I'm going to say, we don't have to stay there for 4 days. Let's stay there for 3 or 2 if we must. This is what the 2 days are going to be like. We have to buy you long skirts because this is how the family works and this is how they do. And the extended family. And also, I'll tell you why you should do it because if you don't do it, you're going to have more of a hell of a time than if you actually just did it. So I'm going to be with you and be part of the journey with you for as much as I can. And I'm going to try to prepare you for as much as I can. And if you need help there, wink. You must have a code. You must be like, and be like.
Are you going to tell your family? Are you going to tell your family, Guti? So, Mama Tata, Bakulu, I've mentioned this is not how we do our relationship in Cape Town.
I don't.
But I've told Khanya so that they don't, because here's the problem with the buying of the skirts and me perpetuating that look, is that now they are going to be shocked when they come visit in Cape Town and I'm actually not the long skirt wearing because they must understand that I'm doing this out of respect for them, but that's not how we live. And it's better for you to tell your family that because they're your family and they'll forgive you, whereas thinking that it comes from me, who's the outsider.
Now I'm saying to you, I would agree with that advice, but you would have to also understand me if I tell you no, because it's worthless conversation that's going to stir up more trouble than it's worth. You'd have to believe me if I'm telling you that. I'm like, I know if I went there and said that, all that's going to happen is by the time you arrive, they're already looking at both of us like this.
More so me than you.
Both of us. This weak son that we gave birth to, and can't even talk to his wife. And look at this ratchet woman that he's with who won't even do it. Now I'm going, I can't change the family I have. And honestly, in bigger retrospect, this is all stupid. All we want to do is to be together for December. Now, if it just means let's have a bloody skirt and let my father speak smack, there's going to be a point where I'm going to be like, it's enough now, Dad. We cannot. There's going to be a level of smack we can't speak. But I'm saying, if he's saying to you, I want tea, there might be a point I'm going to get up with you and I'm going to say, you know what, come. I'll come with you to the kitchen. I'm going to make the damn tea. And then we'll walk back together and then we'll bring him the tea. But
I'm confused in the kitchen. I'm like, which one is the tea?
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I'm saying. I'm helping you because I know, right, what that means. So what I'm saying is, if that's just for 2 days, it is what it is. These are my parents. They're going to be dead in the next 5 years. I think it's not worth... I'm saying dead, meaning we have little time left with these people.
Yes.
It's not worth completely crashing a relationship based on they just ask us to do things we don't like doing. They don't actually change our being as humans.
Can I bring in Tanya in this? Because now I would like to know. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. And the reason why I'm asking, can I bring you this, is that I think sometimes you find that the more we do communicate and we speak about these things, is that culturally, you know, whether it's Asian, it's West, it's you know, European, African, there are actual similarities. So in terms of your German experience of what is, you know, and not being, because I guess you're also just a woke German, because you know, it was a mix there. But in terms of what is happening, you know, the Makoti vibe, you know, what are the Makoti levels in Germany? I just want to know, maybe. So you know, shout out to all the Germans. Are there any responsibilities that are expected? Now, let's just speak, not even a multiracial couple. A German girl, German guy.
It's already, we don't get married. And
I guess there's that one.
I mean, I can already speak just for Berlin, but it's like not very common. Like, sure, there are people that get married, but it's not like people are like, you know, it's not like a thing. Like, okay, you get together and then after a couple of years, you get married and then you have the, like, everybody kind of does what they do. So already there.
But why do German men marry so many
African
women?
Marry?
Yes, marry.
Yeah, they
get
married.
But who are these men?
But they just, you know, my aunt got married to one, like these German men are out here, they come
No, they're out here for real.
Yes, and they marry us, you know what I mean?
This is the thing, there's like, I know people in Berlin that are married, but they're married for whatever, tax purposes, or for paper purposes, you know, if you have a partner that's not from the country, but wants to be able to work, you know, it helps. It's like a practicality thing as opposed to like
a commitment,
you know, and now you have these, it doesn't really...
I think I'm German, guys. I'm German.
And I know a lot of people that actually lived in Berlin for quite a while and then came back to South Africa and then went into relationships with South Africans. Like, oh my God, I was so lucky in Germany with the guys that I was dating because it was so divided and like, you know, everybody cleans and everybody does the dishes and then I come back to South Africa and these guys like leave their shit lying around because people are also used to, I know it's not everybody a lot of men already have an expectation of, also because they were raised like their sisters are cleaning for them and their mothers are cleaning for them and so then
from one woman to another.
Exactly. And then
I mean, guys,
or when it comes to white people, a lot of the time, they would have had people cleaning for them. So they also don't know how to clean. So it's like across the board. Everybody's like the guys are just...
I mean, also, I'm just like... So, you know, a personal example. Really, I eat because apparently it keeps us alive. You know? So, and I come from a family of great cooks. So a lot of my friends don't even know that I can cook, and oh my gosh, let me not say this.
You just said it loud.
Just edit this out.
Girl, we have a beautiful
Khanya's
table
about to do
here.
the thing. Okay, woo!
And you know, and so I can cook, but it's just never. And that's where the conversation started with this friend of mine from Brazil who was saying to me that, oh my God, he was saying, because I was like, oh, you know, he's like, shouldn't you be watching movies? I was like, no, I first decided to just kind of clean up, do some laundry, and then whatever. He's just like, what? That's something I can't imagine you do. And I was like, that's great, because that's not the look I'm going for. I don't want you to think of me and think of me, you know? And then it went on to, you know, but women, you know, the words that were used were big as well. It was just like that food, you know, women, we like to cook for our men, right? Because food facilitates bonding. Okay? And so I was like, I'm all good. If you feel that passionately
Yeah.
about the food and the cooking,
Yeah.
you facilitate that and
Yeah.
you cook.
Yeah.
I will facilitate the things that I'm passionate about, the sex, the conversation, whatever. There's the other point.
Justify that. There we go.
And this was not so much in terms of that I'm disagreeing with you,
just something
you know, but it was something that was interesting that was brought up. It's such it's a wonder that women are expected, right? Generalization at this point,
100%.
but women are expected to not discover themselves sexually, you know, their preferences, etc., etc., prior to marriage, okay? And whether it's happening or not is a different story, but in terms of what's been expected, right? For you to be bumped up on that Makoti list, Sure. That Makoti list. And yet these guys are out here running amok, but they're running amok obviously not amongst themselves. So there's girls that they're running amok with. So I don't know what's supposed to happen there. But then you get married, okay? And I haven't yet discovered my sexual preferences, what I enjoy, what I don't enjoy. I don't know. And then it is like, yeah, but that's why he's stepping out on you, because you're not giving him. How? At which point was I supposed to figure out when was I supposed to figure out?
Is that a general thing? Do you think that people will like will blame
Step
the
out.
woman
Of course.
for the man's cheating?
Of course.
Okay.
Of course.
Really?
I do.
And even woke people, don't you? Sometimes it'll be like, yeah, no, even the woke people. I don't know what happens, and maybe it's just like generations of it that even if you know that you shouldn't, you know, by default you start there, and then you have to pull yourself out of that thing.
What do you mean? What?
Like by default, it's the woman that gets blamed, and then you have to pull yourself out of it.
Who's
like,
blaming her?
society?
Everyone.
Which is everybody,
Men,
women,
society, everyone.
whatever. They are dogs. They are
Even
cats.
the woman who's having sex with your husband is going,
You know what I mean?
She can't do what I do. So you always the problem.
You know what I mean?
You
Yeah.
can't do what she can do, that's
It's
all.
the woman who's not doing that. And you actually touched on it when you spoke about and I think it was to Mzu's point where Mzu was saying, but they would, which I kind of agree on. If men, there was no one to cheat with, they wouldn't cheat. But also the responsibility is not on me.
100%.
Because me, I'm seeing you,
No,
and I'm just like, wow, what a duck dandy. Me, I want some of that.
100%.
If you know
100%.
that you are elsewhere committed, you know what I mean? It's
shouldn't
not
be doing
it's
these
not
things.
my responsibility now to have to stop my urges of wanting you. Do you know what I mean? But I just think that there is what is supposed to happen, because then women, you can't win, because then you are not going to be good Makoti material because you've explored your sexuality.
Sure.
You know, but you're not good Makoti material because you
But
don't know what the hell
you
you're doing.
can, but you just don't tell him where you. He'll be like, "Where did you learn
Just
that?"
to
You'll be
make
like,
just to make the points
Mate, I
again.
came up with it.
Okay, just to come again with the scenario is that I don't think this conversation is about not exploring. It's more about how these things are done, right? And why they are different from men and women, I cannot tell you. I can simply tell you that they are. I don't know women, well, not many of them, who hate men because they've been out here doing things. I kind of find that those are the friends of mine who keep winning. The more they do, I feel like it's the ones that don't do that never
Experience,
win.
guys,
It's
is
like,
a
I'm
thing.
like, what's going on? It's like there's this thing where, yo, he got to be with Tandy. God damn, it works. And okay, what he
No,
got?
100%.
He's Khanya's like, he gonna get some of this.
Yeah,
So he should get some of
100%.
this.
Even seeing a guy.
And
in the
Kwamzu,
corner.
who never got, it's like, I wonder. She never got.
It's in your
So it's this weird thing that is different for how we look at men and how we look at women. But my thing, what I really think I was trying to get to in that is that at least growing up, right, I've had this indoctrination of also how I see my mom, for example, or my aunts for that matter. I would so hate it on a day if I was fighting on the school field and the kid would say, you know, my dad used to fuck your mom. So did the guy who lives that corner and whatever.
Yeah.
But if
why would the kids be talking about that even? Why?
I'll tell you,
Not,
if they know about it, it is a thing you say
Why would
that
they know
hurts.
about it?
I don't know. I'm not making an example of things, right? Whatever.
It's known in the burb.
It can be. It
It's
also
known in
cannot
our
be.
burb, okay?
Now, what I'm saying is, you dating 20,000 people in your life that I don't know. And in any conversation, essentially, that could happen. The conversation that comes about you is a very respectful conversation. No, she used to date so-and-so. You explored, you learned, you did whatever you did. You dumped that person, didn't work out. You went on to do whatever you did. You dated someone else. Whatever dating means, it worked out that way. You've got the experience you want. I don't think there's ever a problem of this because this pride issue is not a problem. So when I walk in that church with you, there's no motherfucker sitting there going, yo, do you know what I used to do? I used to put her on the ladder. And Mzu's getting married to her. Yo, bro, I used to put the shit out of that chick. And it wasn't just me, the other guy who does go what with us. He also, he told me he put it in his ear, in her ear. I'm like, it's my wife. Are you? You motherfuckers.
No, but are you saying that that's what guys would do?
Oh,
They would
it
say
happens.
that.
We know.
Yeah, but that's.
I know these
but
things
that's
are things
part of
because
the problem. That's part of the problem. That these guys are so disrespectful.
I don't disagree with that.
I can just see the backtrack quickly because the reason that we're talking about this is because in the last episode, Zu had said to me, I think it was directed at me. I'm not sure.
Let's find out.
You were saying you're gonna struggle to find. You're gonna struggle to get married if that's what you want. You're gonna struggle to get married if you're open with your sexuality. No, you said.
He said no. No, he did say no.
If people know
that you're open.
In the sound, we can listen to the soundbite, guys.
Yes, I said no. 100%. That's my answer.
I can back this one up, and you know I'm with you.
Know that you're open with your sexual activity, yes. And what I meant by no is, we know. Kobani fucked you. We know. Spumzo fucked you.
All of this is not real.
Yeah, no, it's not real. It's example.
There should be a writing somewhere here to say these fictitious things.
We are saying fictitious things. We're making examples. And this is what I meant by no. If we know, if I know, I'm like, bonk. I know. I also know that it was Friday with this one. It was Sunday with that one.
Can we back it up, Mzo? Just there.
Right or wrong, mind you, saying we know. It now makes a thing for me to go. So at this wedding, Kobani's Pumzo comes and they're all gonna be there. And all of them done, they done. Oh, my wife, they done. Woo. And we're sitting there.
And I'm sitting there and I'm just like, I know that every girl that was of age in this village, when Zoo comes back in December, it's just a marathon.
He's been out here.
I'm also asking questions like, hey.
Now, my thing about that is this. I completely agree that that's how it should be. But what I'm keep telling you is the opposite.
Not.
Every time that dude in that village has had sex with all the hot chicks, it's even great that you getting married to him because like, all these bitches are sour. They're going, she got him to keep. I don't know why it is like that, but that's the unfortunate thing.
It's a nurturing.
Somehow the thing has been made that way. Whereas it could be the opposite. If it was the opposite, then I guess men would also not be doing these things at the same rate. Or maybe they would, just would be a different outlook and whatever not. So I was not talking about what's fair and what's right. I was simply talking about what is happening and how people see these things. Me, myself, and I, on the other hand, I don't know what my actual preference would be. I don't think I would like to know that all 70 people have done this with me. I really don't think I'd like that. If I know, I'm like, yo, come on. Like, oh, even that guy.
Would it be better if they were super hot or if they were not?
I don't even know if it's about hot.
The number, apparently guys just want to know that they're the only people who've been with you, even when they know that they are becoming a stepdad. Because
no, but you know what it is. Do you know what it is? Do you know what it is? Actually, it's usually this thing. It's like, I enjoy that how lucky I am to make it with you, but I don't feel so lucky if even that motherfucker.
You should feel even more lucky.
Hell no.
Like she tried and tested all these guys, but she stuck with you.
No, she retired on me. Wow. I'm not interested in you. She is tired.
No, man.
You even say. You even
that's
say
just being self-deprecating because you should know that you're a
hold on. I know that, but the words you say too is like, I am so tired of just messing around. I would like to be in a relationship. So I'm saying, you want me to keep what you're tired of.
So funny, you know, women in their 30s.
I've heard them saying it, the words. I'm like, I am now tired. I'm like, oh, so me, the retirement home, because you are tired. No, I'm I mean. This is why they cheat. No, so I always say this. This is what I always say then. Unfortunately, and this is not a good way to show this, I'm like, they still cheat on me, but they were never tired. They just found the right person that they thought was the one. And now they're doing things
And
that are
then-
just weird that show
and
me
then-
that they clearly don't think you're the one, which
yeah.
is weird.
Wait, what?
But
When they marry you, they thought that you were the one and they stopped. And then when they
But
go
apparently
back,
you're not,
when they
because
go
here they
back
are,
cheating,
busy.
they
and even so,
what is the cheating?
you would
thing?
love.
What is it?
I'll tell you. It's also, and again, I can't answer it as tell you what it is, but I'll tell you this is the weird thing about it is even when, and these are the most cases when people have found the wife and they cheat on the wife,
That they don't want to
they
leave.
need everyone to know that Mamela Khanya, I'm gonna do this with you, but don't you get it twisted. That's not why. I ain't going nowhere. And it's the weirdest thing. It's like, so
Why?
and the thing is just because they just like the sex. It's just one person, so I'm just rather just do it everywhere else. But then there's a cost to if you see that she suggested something called an open relationship, and I was like, this is the thing that they definitely don't want. The minute they know that the wife is also getting some on the side, they're like, oh, then I don't want you as a wife.
But also, and I think
Then she must stop being a wife.
I'm here for the
Which is
conversation
weird.
of an open relationship.
100%.
Because guys, we also live like there's disease.
Do you want to
This
add
thing
your
is
number
death.
and your name?
This
Yeah,
is-
just put your things and be like.
This it's a death trap. It really is a death
So
trap.
I said, so I asked her, and I guess maybe you have an answer for it. I said, what's the point of the relationship when it's open?
Well, at looking at what is happening, where I think that Mzu's my boo, but so many people, I mean, I'm sure you've seen this where people are, there's so many pages that come up where people are scared to post people
Yeah.
because you post and with so much pride, it's just like
And
relationship
everyone's like-
goals, and it's just like, what do you mean?
I
That's
was
my
with him last
boyfriend, I was with him, you know what I mean? So for me, the openness now, it's becoming a survival thing.
I completely
And not necessarily, look, obviously it depends on whether it's going to work or not. So for example, one relationship that they explicitly said that they're in an open relationship, obviously I don't know the ins and outs of it because it's a celebrity couple, I don't know them personally, was one of the most famous ones was Will Smith and Jada, right? Okay. And I think for me, where I come from in my experience and my thinking about an open relationship is that, I grew up with a grandmother who used to say, isn't this fihlagele, are very tempting. So anything in hiding, you just want more and more and more of. So if the option is there, right, and it's an open thing, I think there's lesser of a pull to it. This is just me, so I could be very wrong about this. I've never been in an open relationship
No, I know.
yet.
No, I actually had a conversation with somebody the other day, and he says he was in an open relationship for a year. He never hooked up with anybody.
Yes,
else.
because
Does he? He doesn't know.
Probably, I don't
He
know.
doesn't know.
No, he
I don't remember, but he was just saying that he never actually.
But I think to the extent of there's so many, this is taking a bit of a dark side now. But there's so many kids who don't have parents because there was irresponsible behavior. Because listen, if you're in an open relationship or the behavior in itself is an open relationship, that then empowers the wife or whoever just also to get protection, guys. I think this thing of just people being okay with someone just saying she's got 6 kids, for me, that number just translates to you've had sex with 6 different people without protection. Do you know what I mean? So, for me, the open relationship is just, I just think it's probably where we should be going in terms of the communication.
I agree.
I agreed with the idea of it. I simply asked her the question I'm still asking you. Then what is the point of a relationship?
Because you can do all of it. You can do the.
No, so hold on, let me
house and
finish
the
it.
baby.
Let me finish
okay,
it. No,
yeah.
let me hold on, let me finish it. If I'm gonna have babies with other ones too, anyway.
No, nobody's saying that.
But hold on, you're asking what is the
And
point
she
of the
just
relationship?
mentioned that as the fact that some people have 6 babies. I'm saying,
Yeah, you can
if we
do
were
that,
open
but that's not
and I had
what
a
it
baby
means
with
to have
you.
an open relationship.
No,
you can have your partner and you have a home and you have your children and that's your thing, but then
You just
can
want
be
to
hooking
have
up with
fun with
doing
other
the thing
people.
that you would be doing without mentioning it
But
secretly.
when you are asking what's the point of the relationship,
So I'm saying-
it's in what context? And
Part
the reason I asked this, as a response to your
To
question,
nothing,
is if you are cheating on me anyway, what's the point of the relationship?
100%. So
Because if I know, at least
okay.
Yeah.
So that brings me to what. So we are agreeing on most of these things, except for the part where I keep laughing because she asked me, "Could I be in an open relationship?" And I said, "I couldn't because I don't understand the relationship part."
But I think this is interesting.
Why are we just not in a hooking up thing with everyone, and you can be just like my best friend?
But-
Because that's all you're gonna be now. If we are close, then we're close. And
But
we're
the
gonna get
cheating-
along. No, we're not cheating until we're not in a relationship now. We are,
No. But now I'm going back to the cheating. So
I'm saying
I think I'm
there's
with you,
nothing
but
to
you are
defend
cheating.
cheating. I can't defend cheating.
Please
I'm
say
saying
that again slowly for the
cheating
camera.
is wrong. Cheating is wrong.
There
I
is
cannot
nothing to
defend cheating. The end of story. I cannot
Megan
defend it.
Nambona Gumzo running around with other people.
Fine, you holler at your people. You don't like that, right? No, it's fine.
Do you
My
call
thing.
out cheating when you see it amongst friends?
No, I don't.
You just leave it.
No, I don't just leave it. I'm talking to the people and they're talking to me about why they're doing it. And I ask the question, why are you in a relationship?
Okay.
If you don't want to be in a relationship. Oh, I want to know. It's like, what's the point of, and then all I ever get is, Amzu, you don't understand because you are just this. I'm like, okay, well, it's fine, man. If not understanding leads me to be how I am, then I think I'm cool with it. Because I don't get why you want to be in it and then you want to do ABC.
And you want to be out.
And again, if you do, might have a relationship, and you do want to have intercourse with other people, I do think your open relationship is a good idea. I just then am still interested to find out what makes a relationship for you. Because for me, what makes a relationship is choosing you and no other person. The minute I can choose other people too, I just don't understand what is it called a relationship for. We can be best friends then.
I just think
And have sex.
in
And
the
then we're best friends, like,
in the current state of what's happening, I do think that the exploration of and understanding of open relationships, I've never been in one. I don't know if I'll be able to function successfully in one. I don't know. But it seems like the logical thing, because obviously my saying this is all based on logic, the thinking, but obviously once there are emotions involved, it becomes a whole different ball game
But
altogether.
a relationship is always different once you're in it and you're dealing with the realities of what a relationship is.
You know, it's cool to be a
That's
side chick until you are actually, and then you're just like, so when you're leaving her? And it's just, but I never said I was.
I actually said I'm not.
I told you I was not leaving her.
There was I was in town the other day and the security asked me if we can hook up.
Huh?
And
I don't understand what you're saying.
You just literally say hello. Can we hook up?
yeah, because he was standing there. I was waiting for people.
What do you mean hook up?
He hook up. Like, can we meet? Can we? You know, and I was like, I said I have a boyfriend, because sometimes it's tiring. You don't want to be like,
and to think that you have to say that there's another man attached to you for the respect to come.
I used to not do that.
Oh!
And I used to not do that.
Can I ask a question?
Wait,
Hold on.
I have to finish this. I have to finish this. But then, because I find that that's the only thing that will get a guy to stop. But then I say that, and he's like, you don't have to tell him.
Oh, what a G!
So forget the respect I thought.
And then you gotta tell this
also,
dude.
it's just wild, the things that the things that guys are thinking, that they're the shit out there, that you really want to be with them. When he's given me nothing, like literally, I walk out of the building and there's a guy. He's like,
my shock and horror, and this remains an issue. And I always say, living in Cape Town CBD and fairly safe, it is absolutely just shocking to me all the time. My experience, I like walking, but my experience of if I just decide that I just want to walk and I don't want to drive somewhere. It doesn't matter what I'm wearing. It's almost like I'm there for everybody's taking. Whether it's in what they say, it's how they look. Some even have the balls that they just want to reach out. You know what I mean? Just now coming here, going to the car, walking out. These guys were walking. They didn't even know I was going to come out of the building. As I come out, this guy's trying to grab me. I'm just like, how? Like how? How is that a thing? And the only time it's a different experience is if I'm with a male friend. Yeah. And then they make you feel like it's almost like you're crazy when you're saying that.
They're like, I don't know, just that happens.
Yeah, and you're just like,
see that.
What is it that, and people will say things like, oh, but you're so pretty, how do you not have a man? Why does my prettiness, what does my smartness, what does my nice body, what does my anything have to do with the fact that it must be attached to a man? How are you single when you're this
Because
pretty?
what they're saying is that as a woman, you must want to be in a relationship. And as soon as a guy is willing to be in a relationship with you, you have to be thankful.
I 100% disagree with that. And that's your no, I don't think so. But
okay, let me backtrack. I'm backtracking already.
That's also fine. And that's only because I'm like, this is usually where these conversations take a weird turn. I'm like, wouldn't you want to ask the guys who are saying this so that you'd know?
Yeah, obviously, you have conversations with them.
They're only asking that because what they're trying to find out is, have dudes really not been hollering? And then your answer may be, if you said, oh, it's not because I'm not interested in any. Then they'll equally walk away satisfied going, shit, it's been white cats. There's never been a white cat for her. They're not gonna go, ooh, she's so fucked up, she's so pretty, and she's not qualified. I mean, that's not it. The question is, how is it even possible that someone this nice has not been hollered at by enough cats until there was the right one? Maybe your answer is, oh, I'm into women actually. Oh shit, okay, that's why. Oh, nah, all you cats are whack. Shit, we are. We need to get better to get this kind of show. That's really what they're asking. They're not saying, oh, if you're pretty, you must have a man because you lucky to. That's not it. It's the opposite.
But do you see how it comes across that way? But do you see how the attachment to my smartness, to my prettiness, to me waking up 5 o'clock to go to the gym, to go for a run, and now it's just like, yeah, but how is it that, you know what I mean?
I'm saying to you, I can't blame you for being annoyed for experiencing this thing over and over again and how you eventually then start interpreting things. I just feel like it's also sometimes the interpretation is wrong regardless.
So you're saying it doesn't come from a bad place?
It doesn't always. I can't speak for all these idiots.
Okay.
There's idiots out in the world who do things that people want to grab your wrist. I don't get that. But I also, at the same time, I'm going, when you're a guy standing in the street, for example, I'm sitting here on my porch and then you walk past and I'm going, I would never ever see her again. The only time I have to holler at this shorty is right now in front of the street. I will open my gate and I'm going to say, hey, how are you? Now, I get that this is annoying for you. All I'm going is, I'm trying to understand when this changes into harassment. What do I have to do to be now harassing you as opposed to, where else am I going to see her? I've been in Cape Town for 10 years, I've never seen you before. I'm seeing you on the street right now. How do I know I'm never going to see you for the next 10 years? And I'm liking you right now. I'm going, there it is. So now what must happen? And then
it becomes harassment after I say hey, and then I'm assuming you'll do the right thing and be like, can I please get 2 minutes or whatever of your time, and then I say no thanks, and then you still follow.
Okay.
Then it becomes harassment.
Okay. Then I completely agree.
It becomes harassment when you come and you're just like, hey baby, I'm sorry,
100%,
I'm grown.
I'm not your baby, right? Cool.
You know?
I don't disagree with any of those things. But I just always never now know the lines because I'm going, at this point, I'm just kind of scared to say anything to anyone I don't know. It's like,
you don't seem
you don't think that, but that's just because you also never see me doing anything. You've never seen me in the street. I've never as a person just never hollered at anyone in the street because it's just kind of weird. I don't know how cats do that. I usually give kudos to the cats who know how to do that. God damn, did you just smack her on the street and she gave you the number and you sing it tomorrow? What did you say to a woman you don't know, bro? You just rocked up and you're like, hey, what's good?
And
then it works. I'm like, yo, this.
And you know the thing is, and this could be a bit controversial because I think as well, us as females, there are certain people. If I'm liking what I'm going to see, my response also is different.
100%.
And
you know what I mean? You know. But I also, and because of that, I think what you're saying is very, very true because I've been in spaces where I've sat around and I'm just like, there's not short of me going up to the guy and being like,
yeah, just come through.
I've been in spaces where I'm just like, okay, like say hi, do something. And I think the right kind of guy, the decent kind of guys, are the guys who are so aware that it's actually now, stopping them from stepping up, even within the confinements of saying this is still okay. You know what I mean?
So the only guys that are hitting on you are the ones who
the idiots.
Yeah.
Please kind.
Which is wrong.
And like at the gym, it's always the ones who have the confidence, who are just, I'm like, why can it not be the guy at treadmill number 4? Because yes,
that's who I want to
treadmill number 4, we can go, we can squat, we can have conversations about this. And I don't know what it is. Like I'm just like sometimes I even ask them, is the energy wrong? What am I doing? Because it's just because you don't even know how to. And I guess for guys as well, which is the right thing, because you must be cautious. Because more than anything, to protect yourself, even as a guy, and if you're an upstanding guy, is to say, I cannot translate a smile as I want to have your babies.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Sure. I cannot translate. I mean, this guy clearly, you said he greeted you and you said yes, and he thought you saying yes. Now he can make you become cheat on your
was it
on
wrong
your man.
for him to ask? This is what I wanted to understand.
It's inappropriate.
What did the security guard?
It's inappropriate.
Until you tell me a story.
No, it's
that
inappropriate.
There was a guy you didn't know who came and said this and you were like, hell yeah. And I'm like, so it's inappropriate because it's a security guard. But it's appropriate when it's
No,
the guy
it's
you like.
inappropriate to
No,
be
no, no,
on the
it's-
street
it's-
when you come out of the
and to
gym
say to
and
somebody,
there's
"Why?"
a just standing there.
No, no.
saying I want to be like they're not asking can I talk to you? They're
Yeah,
saying to you I
yeah.
want to have you in bed.
Yeah.
Oh what?
Yeah.
No, my thing is, I ask these things because I want to understand when, because there are things I've been told before, but like, nah.
if
And
you're
then
like-
when it happens, I'm like, he was a junkie at the bar. Dirty as fuck, as far as I'm concerned. I can't even believe you would let that guy touch you. And that's the guy who walked up to you and he was
But this
like,
is the thing.
do you want to
already,
put?
if
And
you're
you're like, actually, daddy, today.
Sure.
I'm like,
But there must have been
ah,
alcohol.
can't
I
how
don't
do
drink.
we know
I
now?
don't drink, but I'm gonna have to differ. I think the only way that could happen is that clearly the young lady was also just drunk.
Oh, she's just a German. I don't know. I said that just for you. I just said that just for you.
No,
jokes. I just said that to Tandy.
But I
Jokes.
and that's-
Everyone know jokes. It's Tandy is German. I'm messing with her.
the difficulty here really is that the good guys are really not stepping up. They really and I understand. No, they're not.
guys
They're
aren't
not.
stepping
They're not because they're also thinking, I don't want to be, newspapers for
Hashtag
harassment.
me too,
I don't want to
man.
use my job. I don't want to, and it's just such the dating pool. Oh wow, it's a mess in Cape Town. Wow.
That's a mess.
It's a mess. But it becomes to a point where you literally have got to be, I must now wait for hope that someone I know knows the person to see them in the next space. Literally date, it's hope, guys. Let me tell you, I've been here, it's a hope thing, okay? Hope. Hope thing.
I
It's a
think you
hope
can
game.
date in Cape Town. You just probably, the people you like are just the wrong ones. They are the right guys who want to date. It's just probably the ones you don't like.
That don't go to gym ganje.
Yeah, that's the
ones
thing.
who are out here
There are
and
many
beer
of them.
bellies.
It's just the ones. I'm just like, what is this? What does that even mean? I'm just saying. There are many dudes who want to
But
date,
so, honestly-
but probably the ones you like are the ones who don't want to date, which is awkward. It's got nothing to do with Cape Town. It's got to do with your taste too.
Yes, my taste. Just
Can
if
you
you're
please
looking,
say what it is that you want so that we can maybe it's a shout out to
shout out, Idris kind, Boris Kujo kind, Morris Chestnut kind.
Those are not the dating types as far as
I
I'm
don't know
concerned.
any
These
of
are
these-
the problems that you're asking for in your life. You're asking for all
Keep
the
going,
problems.
keep going. What do you want?
Well,
What are you
okay,
looking
let's put it this way. Like, okay, let's put it this way.
Yeah.
Okay. The super achievers, that will be you, those guys that I've just named. But I just think, as a person, I like-minded people, right? And when I say like-minded people is I like taking care of myself, health-wise. You know what I mean? So it's hard, the going to the gym, the running, the walking. Can I also just get a human being who's just going to be wanting to be physically healthy? Do you know what I mean?
But they
without,
are
but without feeling like, as I hear a lot that my standards. Why is it that it cannot be? And I like black love. I like black love.
Let's get it.
Yes.
Let's get it.
And why is it that people? Because people will be like, yeah, you're not gonna find that in a black man. Are you saying?
What are you saying about
are you
us,
saying-
yo? Who are these people?
That's what I'm hearing.
Get out of here, man.
That's what I'm
we out
hearing.
here trying to stay buff. What's
That's
wrong
what I'm
with
hearing. That's what I'm saying. Like,
What are
healthy.
you saying that?
No, a lot of people say that to me. Oh, you might have to just, lower your standards. Maybe. Like, no. I've been told directly so. Yeah, but I mean
Branch out.
also.
So now I must worry
I mean,
if
you
black
must
girls
take
like me. I'm
yeah.
like, because you're lowering your standards. And you think
You know,
you zoo.
no, but those are the things that I said. Just lower your standards, but also you want a lot. I don't, it's not being superficial. That is what I'm attracted
So,
to, and
okay,
I'd like it to be.
you want a fit guy that takes care of his body.
Yes.
Take care.
That doesn't seem like a crazy
I
thing.
also don't
why-
see
You know what I
That's so
mean?
crazy.
But in Cape Town, it seems to be.
Wow.
But they're here.
Where?
I mean, I
exist.
see.
I'm just
there-
like, there's so
Seaport,
many of us.
Greenwood.
What do you mean where?
Running there.
Is it like there's no respect at this table? I'm like, I just like, it's okay to mention me, even if I'm not the target of your interest.
Okay, sorry.
Even if I'm not the target of your interest. God damn it.
Listen,
The lights
thing
off.
is, you don't want,
The lights off.
you don't do relationships.
Excuse
so
me,
what is
folks.
what is so you're like, oh look, we're here, but we.
Are we running out of time? He doesn't do relationships with
here we
Why?
go.
What happened? Who hurt you?
I'm sorry, am I blowing you? Like I don't.
Well,
know.
it's
This
good.
is-
You
my
asked what
cousin-
you asked me. No, she asked the question. She asked the question. Someone did. Yeah.
What?
She asked me who hurt you. Someone did. Someone did.
So for a while, this is
Yeah,
a while.
but listen,
Yeah,
honestly,
it's a
but
while.
you have to work on your trauma and you have to deal with
We
it.
all
even if
are.
that
We
means
take our time doing
even
it.
if that means going to therapy or something. But you can't be like, now I'm gonna
Excuse me.
restrict myself and not
Excuse
go.
if I was going to therapy for as long as I was, you'd still have a problem because you'd say, no, maybe I think now you should do pals because this therapy is taking too long. You can't determine how long my healing should be, Tandy. What you need to know is that if I'm saying to you there is a problem that I also would like to get healed, I think that's enough. You're going, you know what? He knows the problem and he thinks it should be healed. It's not like I'm saying,
and I can,
you know,
and I
it
can,
is what it is,
and I can
I'm done.
appreciate, and
Whatever.
I can appreciate you actually saying that because then there's a lot of women who are getting into what they think are relationships with people who are still hurt,
And then,
we're getting played.
100%.
Yeah.
And then that's the thing is, I'm like, at some point you have to get over the excuses of hurting people because you hurt. At some point you gotta know, like, shit, I'm doing something wrong here because I'm always hurting these people. Why is it? Oh, it's because I haven't dealt with something. Deal with the thing, son. You know, just deal with the thing.
Yeah.
Before you go offering things to people. Otherwise, you're gonna get them into things.
Yeah.
So that's it. Therapy. Get out.
What's happening in Germany? Therapy? Is that what happens?
German. What's with German?
Yeah,
What's
man,
happening?
it's free because you know.
Really?
There's all kinds
So
of
people
trauma
are,
there.
so
Like
people,
health insurance.
so people are out here running a hot mess, and it's just like, oh, I've been messing up too many girls. Now you go for the free therapy.
I don't know about Klaus doing all of that.
Probably
Heinz
Klaus.
and Klaus, I don't know.
But yeah, I mean, and I think it really does become almost like there's a certain limitation of what
It's you guys making it hard.
we thank you. I mean, it becomes almost like if you want a certain type of, I don't understand why I can't want the best for myself
100%.
in a partner. Because, you know, not only is he athletic and all of those things, we're going to have a great sexual connection, a great mental connection, a great financial understanding because we're creating wealth out in here because poverty is not for me.
It's not a thing.
No. And he then cooks well. And he likes it. You know? I'm a cleaner. No, I'm a cleaner. No, I'm a cleaner.
Okay.
No, I'm here for a clean. But if you're thinking, Klampe, around the kitchen, Shem, I must be so in the mood. It must have been so inspired in me.
Okay, so you've
These
said all the
things
things. I think.
Do you know people?
I'm
Dial the number.
somebody out
Yeah.
there for sure is gonna know somebody that can do all of those things.
Number
because-
is here. Call it hand.
So yeah, it does. It shouldn't be so.
I don't know. How's it working out for you?
Great.
Tata is a
How's it working
special
out for you?
child. What's working
How's
out?
the dating thing going for you in Cape Town as a guy?
I don't think there's anything difficult. It's just that what's difficult at the moment is just knowing when you cross the wrong, when you start doing the wrong things. At the moment, this woke business is a very interesting thing. I'm like, shit, you know. And it's both good and bad because some behaviors that we had, hollering at people in the streets, you thought were cool. You didn't know that actually you were hurting somebody. You didn't think you had an intention to. But after she's been walking down the street and 70 people have been, oh, so baby, go shouty. It probably at the point it's like, God damn, can you leave
And
me
also
alone?
the things that I just said. It's I
Yeah,
think,
not
I think
100%,
even
right?
the choice. I think it's not so much that, you know. I always say this. You know, a lot of friends who are Tswana original, they always say that when they go to KZN, they just feel so. They feel like queens, and it's in the language.
Yeah,
I
it's
guess
what the
you know
people say
because
to you.
people are just gonna be like, "Awuthandima unjani," you know, like. That's somebody hollering.
That's
you know,
smacking right.
you know, they'll be like, you enter into a lift. This is somebody who doesn't know you. They've never seen you. Do you know? It's hollering, but there's a certain level of respect. I understand that you're appreciating me as a female. But this hollering at yo baby, yo ma, Aibo. I'm in South Africa. Yo ma what?
Yeah.
You know,
Who's your
like
ma? I'm
I
not
mean,
your ma.
you know what I mean? Like what's the vibe with that? So it's even in the language that is being used, and then also just understanding. And I guess for guys being taught that you must persevere. If you first don't succeed, go at it again.
Yeah.
If I say to you, it's a no.
Yeah.
Please believe me, it's a
So
no.
I have a question. How would you feel as a guy for women to be considered the person who will approach
Step up
the
to you.
man? How is that? Because then if
I just
if
feel
you think about
powerless
it, we
in
would.
that.
Wow.
That's the only thing I
But
hate.
but
Because I
then
have to wait for your actions. I'm like, I'd
No,
like
but
to
then-
holler at
but if
Tata,
we-
but she's not hollering. And I'm a doer. I'd like to holler. She's not hollering. That's the only thing I
right.
feel.
But if we could
besides
introduce that, then we could know.
But how do I know when? It's just sorry, Tandi, off the back of what you're asking is what is the sign? What level of the signs that is going to be enough for you to know that it's safe to proceed? but it's still not going to disempower you as a man.
No,
So what do I do? Do I walk past and bump you?
No.
No,
Do
but
I?
that's not clear.
What do I do?
But if
My
you
thing
start
is-
a conversation with somebody, already that means that you're interested in that person. So whether we're at a club or in a public space or whatever, if I come up to you
Not
and I
always,
say,
Thandi.
hi, how you doing?
No, not always.
No,
Not always.
it doesn't mean that you're romantically or sexually
Oh.
interested in that person, but it means that you are drawn to that person in
We
whatever
can talk.
way and you want
Let's
to have
talk
a
and see what
conversation.
happens. Sure.
And then you can still see from there.
So how do we
But
do that? I would like
I'm
to
just
be in the
wondering, I
middle
think we should
without
start that.
disempowering the guy
Generally speaking,
and setting the
The
tone
thing
that
is,
you
but
are now
that's
going to
what
lead
I'm
the
wondering now,
relationship.
because maybe I don't want to be with that guy if he feels disempowered because I approach him. Maybe
Oh,
that's
no,
not
that's
the
not
type
a
of
problem.
person that I want to hang out with even.
oh no,
Do
no,
you know
I
what
don't
mean?
even think that's a problem. Okay, if the question
Yeah.
was if people approach me, do I feel disempowered? No, I don't. Holler at your boy if you want to holler.
Right.
It's not a thing. We'll talk about it.
Right.
I can talk to you. It's not a problem. We'll be good. No, holler at your boy, for real. Holler at your boy. Do your thing, right? At the moment, the conversation about what is happening to females, right, is big and it's a big problem. And how we are addressing it, I'm saying that the problem is so big, I'd rather not play even a small part of causing a problem.
Yes, got
So
you.
even if hollering in the street sucks, that I can't holler at people in the street, it's okay if I look at what problem it's actually
Yes.
causing. Then I'd rather suffer with that problem because there's a bigger problem at play.
Yes,
Right?
got
So
you.
that, and that's what's happening. So what your question being is, what should I do in the street? I'm like, maybe we should all just be comfortable that maybe in the street no one's gonna holler. But don't think that that's the end of it. Because I might holler at you at a restaurant. It's just that the street at the moment is
It's not
very
the right
tricky.
thing.
And also, again, you get people like me where I always say, when people first told me about these things of being hollered in the street, they were like, you're so harassed and whatever. I'm like, who are these people? Because I've never been that person. I don't have friends who do that. I've never sat in a group of people who did that. So I honestly was like, Zubeni Hambaki, where are you guys walking where there are these trash people who keep calling you?
Oh, they're everywhere.
Whatever, right?
Everywhere.
And I mean, also growing up, I used to see cats in the street and they grab a lady's wrist. But then the other thing I used to see growing up is they grab the lady's wrist. And in growing up, I've never actually seen a violent one. I've seen them holler and then grab the wrist and then people laugh and then I see her smiling and pushing
Yeah,
her
but
back
you know,
and
a
then
lot of
give
that is
and then
self-protection.
and then giving the number and then they go and then they end up together. I'm like, where did you meet? He's like, no, I hollered in the street. And I was like, yo, right? I've never seen the ones where she's like she trying to get away, dude. And you held her wrist and now she's standing going.
Mzu, sometimes the way that you try and get away is like, oh yeah, we can, you know.
Cool, it's all good.
Let's definitely hook.
Because you
and
also
try
says,
and-
and it's
because
because
you
you
Protecting
don't
yourself.
yes.
because you
What-
don't know what the
So,
guy is
so
gonna
this
act
is
like when you.
100%. So this is what I'm saying. So then at some point I had to stop asking the questions about who are these people because then clearly
It's
could
happening.
Be, it could be the people that I'm with. I just didn't know because I saw you smile.
Yes.
I was outside of the situation, seeing you smile,
Yeah.
and I thought that meant everything was cool. Meanwhile, it didn't mean that. So I'm going fine.
Yeah.
So no hollering in the streets. Then. So that's simple for now, at least because I don't know when it's cool and when it's not cool. For now. Again, scenarios will be different. If you're walking with her, I'm talking to you, and it's in the street, and I'll holler. It's different. There's oh, I think this is comfortable. I know her, now we stopped, and now we're talking. Or you were walking from the place. I mean, do you live here in Ops with your groceries? It looks like they're heavy. I live in the street. Can I help you if you don't mind?
But that's what I'm saying. That's in the language.
If
See,
you-
that
if
is
you are
respectful, and I
comfortable
don't,
with that,
and I
can I
don't
help you
think,
with
and I
that?
don't think anybody will be like, oh, I felt harassed because this guy wanted to help
No,
with
but I
the
wouldn't
groceries.
do it.
And I'm
You know,
hollering.
because
Yeah,
then
because you don't know.
where I live.
100%. Right?
You know,
Never.
100%. Right?
You want to walk to my
No.
house?
yes.
With
Wherever,
my groceries?
wherever. I can
But-
walk you to the corner.
Oh, and
I
I,
can
want
walk
to
you
take,
to the
and I want
corner.
to, and I want to take it back in Namzo because I think that was possible.
Yeah.
You know, in the villages that
Yeah,
we come from,
for
because
sure.
even if I don't know you,
Yeah.
you know what I mean. So if I've seen you around and whatever, and there's a certain level
Yeah.
of familiarity, and I think also in Nakona, which is it's not a guarantee for safety anymore because I mean,
There's
you
all
know,
kinds of idiots.
the stats are looking dodgy.
100%.
Yeah.
It's also, you know, one of those things where you want to, but it's still in the language.
100%.
You know, because I feel if you come at me with that kind of language, I will not
Maybe
feel.
chances.
I also won't feel threatened
Threatened.
because as humans, I think our instinct is always to protect ourselves, right? So if you know you've got those guys who are very push and needy, they're already going for the groceries.
Yeah.
You're not giving me
You're
an
like,
option
"Guy,
at this
whoa,
point.
whoa, whoa."
You know what I mean? You're not giving me an option. Ask me, hear what I have to say because then I don't know. Maybe I might go and I'll you know, 3 streets away or whatever. Look, we've heard some great stories. I've heard some great stories of guys who've been like hey, it's a bit dark. Like, I know that I've had a security guard say that to me. It's like, you're waiting for an Uber. Okay, it's a bit dark. Are you okay? Can I stand with you? Then the conversation goes, you know? But it's not, I think, again, I cannot, emphasize it enough. It's in the language.
Yeah.
And the language in itself speaks to either aggression or genuinely coming from a place of...
Can I ask this then? Say said security sees that it's dark, and it is dark, and you're standing alone, and security offers to chill. Is it okay if I help you wait for your car?
Yes.
And security sits with you, and he's now feeling you, and now he's actually macking now. Is this a harassment now?
How do we
This
go
is now
from...
the thing. He's here now. He's looking at you, and he's going, God damn, I didn't even see. Ooh, now I'm here. Is it wrong now?
Do you have to mac immediately? Can you not?
I'm not going to see you. I'm a security guard. I've never seen you stand here. I've worked here for 22 years. I've never seen you standing at the spot. I will never see you again. The only way for this to happen is to me say hi, hello, try get your number if possible, if you're interested.
I don't know. I feel like that's okay
is it
if
wrong
you're then sitting
to
together
holler?
and having a conversation. I always find it always kind of blows my mind when somebody goes straight from like, oh, okay, hey, how's it going, to let's exchange numbers, I'm interested in you. Because it's like you're not interested in me because we haven't even had a conversation, so you don't even know who I am.
I'm interested
or what
in
I'm
getting
about.
to know you.
Yeah, but that...
And I don't have time.
Language.
You're going to leave
Yeah,
now.
no.
You're going to leave. You're never going to see you
but
again.
at the flip side, as I said, and I know part of the problem here, I have had the same sentence
Sure.
said to me,
Yeah.
and it was somebody that I just did not find attractive, and it was an irritation. It was somebody that I found attractive.
It was great.
It was great.
great.
You know what I mean?
Ooh,
So
you know what he
if
said?
we are honest, and I
Yeah.
think we also have to own it. If we are honest, that also does come to play.
100%.
I just really want to know, Mzo, is that when can I as a girl, I'm seeing you and I'm like, shit, I'm not gonna see him again. And I would like, and I can, because there's a vibe.
I say holla.
But what is it that, because Sandy asked you and you said you'd feel disempowered.
No, I said I wouldn't.
What
If she
do I
hollers.
say?
No, holla. I said holla at your boy. Holla. Literally, holla. What's up, dude? Like, I'm good. What's happening?
And I'm obviously asking for too much now.
No,
if you just think about like some of your friends and the conversations that you had, do you know what the general, very generic, general threshold would be that a girl can come up to show Wuti, I'm interested, so please proceed.
One of two things happen. Men are asking the same questions you ask. Why is it always gotta be these kind of girls that holler at me? Why couldn't it be the hot ones? It's also the same. Because there's some dude.
so funny.
And then you get to when you're like, why would it be? Why is it never the ones out?
And it's never the ones.
That's who are hollering. It's just always these ones.
Never the
But
ones.
the part of hollering is not a thing. It's not a problem. It's just, my thing is, being a person who's lived their life hollering, I'll judge your type of hollering because then it's informing me a lot of either your inexperience or, I know, well, that's what I know. Because you don't know how to mac. You've never been a macking person in your life. Whereas, I guess as a boy, you kind of have been doing this all the time. Not that you've always learned and are good at it. I'm just saying, you've learned certain behaviors.
There's been so many hits
that
you're going to win eventually.
You're going, okay, you don't do that. Now that you do, that you try, that you don't try, that you do, that you don't. You know what I mean? And we all act differently about it. I'm a very chilled cat.
And who texts first?
There's no games. Text whoever wants to text first. Text when you feel like texting. I don't have this, I got a number, then 2 days later. I'm like, I'm texting you right now if I want to text you right now.
And there's no like turn off or like this is too eager or this is whatever.
It's not because of your action. Your true eagerness will happen because you are literally being. And I'm like, okay, this one is very hot today. I don't know what's happening, and she's trying to do funny things. You are being weird. That's the problem. But if you are focused, you know what you want. You're hollering. I'm like,
I recently read somewhere.
Focus, man. She focused.
There's a whole thing that's happening. I recently found this. I can't remember which social network it was. I think it was Instagram. So it popped up as an ad, and it said, they're going to teach you about how. So you inviting a guy out for drinks or whatever is why he won't take you seriously or whatever. So that's why I'm actually asking, because I'm just like, is it now actually a thing that I cannot just say, hey, by the way, I know that something's happening. There's an art show happening. Our conversation was a vibe. Could we? Because that thing was implying, they're not going to take you seriously.
I don't want to be
85%, and I'm going to tell you, foreign women, I speak of Americans, Germans, some Dutch, maybe even Italians or whatever, they holler. And they've even inviting for drinks. Yo, we are going out for this thing. Are you coming through late? And then you're like, hey, focus. You see,
apparently she was just
You know?
like,
Let's go out, you know?
But what I'm saying is, that's cool. Because my point being is,
yeah.
whatever you focused for, to
Yeah.
be friends, we go out, I will holler if I'm thinking I'm hollering and you say no if you say no. It's fine. Then we move on from that. My point being is, there is no issue in being focused and hollering at people. And people do not take you less seriously. You don't take you less seriously because you are taking initiative. I just feel like just because you're taking initiative doesn't mean you're desperate, but when you are acting weird and being desperate, you only come across as weird and desperate.
Which is also
Which is same
just
for
when you're
dudes
not
as well.
attractive,
Yeah,
right?
well.
Yeah, the weird also because
If you're hot and you're eager, then ooh.
No, not
But
always.
if you-
Not always as well. I'm telling you, not always. I'm telling you, that's not always the truth.
well, I can agree. Yeah,
It's
because
not always the
there's a
truth.
good guy who's
You just-
good-looking guy who's creepy. Also.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is that it's not always the truth, but what I'm saying is you are right. Looking good has its advantages in most things. You actually don't even
We
have
need
to
to
speak
acknowledge
sometimes.
this.
You just sit at a table and things are happening. I'm like, yo, I've been sitting here. Why nobody trying to holler at a brother? I thought sitting was the angle. No, it's just because you ain't that hot, dude. Apparently, you know? That's what it is. So leave it be. It's just the way things go, right? But so there are definitely always advantages to being hot, but I also think you should know that it's also not the end all and be all. It's just a great advantage to start. Because when you are hot and you become a douchebag,
Yeah.
you are going to be a douchebag then.
Yeah.
Or when you're weird, you're just going to become weird. But you have a definite advantage.
You're the hot
if
weird
you
girl.
actually already have the thing, it's like, well,
So in closing, we can hit on guys, is what you're saying.
can do whatever
we
you
should
like.
hit on
You
guys.
should.
Let's
You
make
holler
that
at
the
them.
rule. If
You
we
can holler.
see a guy that we like, we will
Holler.
hit on him.
holla.
Try
and I think,
it
and I,
out.
and I
Let me
think
know how it goes.
and respectfully,
Respectfully.
either
Like,
you know
yeah, don't like
goes
be
each way.
drab-
And also be realistic in the terms that it's going to be the same as how it is when they holler at you. They might not like you, they might like you. They might think you are the ones that always holler that they shoot.
Yeah, and it's interesting
It's the
because,
same.
we,
It's
because,
exactly
we,
the
because
same.
women
Go back and-
are not used to rejection because we don't
Yes,
ever
you
have
have
to
to.
do that. So it's hard. It's hard, but let's practice.
And yes, if you're watching this, I don't know, check the date because depending on when it goes on air, I might be taken. But if you mean it's okay, drop a
But
note.
only if you
Get
take care of
fit.
your body.
You like cooking.
Successful, like
Yes.
cooking.
You're about building wealth.
Don't mind
Yes.
cleaning a little
Black
bit
love.
too.
Yes.
Black love.
There we go.
And a
All of
genuinely
those
good
things.
human.
There we go.
Yeah.
Good human first.
Good human.
Good human above it all.
I don't know. It sounds like gym first and then good human. Be healthy.
Good gym human.
You guys are so funny.